Avatar is a feast for the eyes, but you just do not connect to these characters. $500 million and you could care less.
I didn't
And
hear
then
much
Dog
about it.
Sung Blue, Hugh Jackman, Kate Hudson is just emotion, it's just connection, and you could do that for no money.
Well, one battle after another. Have you seen that one, the new Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You didn't like it?
No, I did not like it at all.
Tell me why. So I'm here today. I'm very excited. I have Michael Feifer, a longtime mentor, film director. He's produced over 130 films. He's written more than 50 scripts, directed 80 films with greats such as Val Kilmer, Brittany Murphy, Bruce Dern, Kathleen Quinlan, among Al Pacino he's worked with. And so I just wanted to just give Michael a moment to say hello and just talk about some of the work that he's done. And just glad to have you on here, Michael.
Well, thanks for having me, Thomas. It's a pleasure. And we've known each other a long time now, and you've been in a bunch of my movies, which have been great. And you took my Fight for Film Academy class.
I did. That class. Wow, what an amazing place to be. It was an intensive, I think, how many days we do? About a week, about 5 days.
5 nights, 5 hours a night. Yeah.
It was incredible. I mean, the backstory, how the films have been made, the ones that I were in, the story behind them, and the ones that I haven't been in. Just to learn so much about how you create the films and how you're able to do it on the budgets that you do it on, and all the different ins and outs of putting it together. Was just very interesting, and it gave me a lot of background on how to move some of my projects forward.
Yeah.
So
And now I put it online. So now it's online. It's just $10 a month.
yeah, tell me about that. So yeah, I'm online. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I decided, we do the in-person class, but the in-person class is not cheap. It takes a lot of time and effort, and I wanted to just spread there's two things I'm trying to do with the Fight for Film Academy. One is to empower filmmakers, empower people to make their own movies, empower people to produce and direct their own movies. Instead of waiting to be hired, instead of an actor waiting to be hired or a grip waiting to be hired, just make your own movies. And the other is how to make studio films on indie budgets. That's what I want to teach people. I really get excited by making movies really cheap that look really good. And that's something I really try to focus on. So those two things I'm really trying to focus on. So I want to spread it wider. So I've decided, okay, let's just start putting these classes online. So there's the Fight for Film Academy. You go to fightforfilmacademy.com and you click and it takes you to a website called School, SKOOL. So that hosts the whole thing. And I'm just putting content up regularly because I just really like telling people how to make movies, and I'm trying to give away the secret sauce. It's only $10 a month to pay for the secret sauce, or we could do the in-person classes. You could sign up for in-person classes, but as you know, it's harder to get everybody together for an in-person class. I came out to LA for Thomas's class and it was awesome. We had a great group, and that's a whole nother level of learning to make films. But in the meantime, I have this, I created the Film Academy, the online, to have this intermediary for doing it.
And I got to tell you, the value of that is just, the 5-day intensive. First thing, I just want to advise everyone, if you haven't taken anything like this, even if you have, the 5-day intensive was just nice way to immerse yourself fully into the situation and program and to understand in a very intense way. Usually I find that when you focus on something intensely for a short period of time, it really sinks in well. But what was really great was you didn't follow it up with the Academy online, so that some of the things that you taught us in the intensive, I was able to follow up on, look into it. And it's really easy to look through the 2-year Academy online. I was very impressed. What made you choose School? SKOOL?
I looked at a few of them, but
School.
School had the user interface was the easiest to work with, I felt. And so that's why I went to School. I just, I don't want to get bogged down, just like us setting up this video today or getting bogged down and all that stuff. School is really well and simply designed. So that's why I went with it. And so far it's working. But each video on the Academy online, I mean for it to kind of be like almost like a podcast, like just sit and listen to it. Have me running while you're working other stuff. I have images that come up and things, or I just put one up last night that's I shot a lot of times when I'm making a movie, I'll shoot with my iPhone, all this behind the scenes making of stuff. This weekend, I edited together all of those pieces with actual film footage from the movie, and you could just kind of travel with me on the film. So that's one where you can't just listen; you can watch it too. Just trying to create different content that's exclusive to the Film Academy. I'm not putting it up for free on YouTube.
Absolutely lovely too. I mean, I noticed that every day I get a little message. Almost every day I get a message which I feel like I'm with you while you're making a film, and it's just crazy. It's like having a mentor daily. And if you feel some mornings I'm a little less inspired than others, and then here comes a nice email from you. It's
Good.
telling me where you're at, what you're doing, and some things that I can focus on.
Yeah.
You don't let anyone get stale. If you're part of the group, you're keeping everybody moving and interested.
Community too. I want to have enough people on there so that we can all together be making movies or help finance movies. Or, for instance, there's a good friend of mine who acted in my movie Dangerous Matrimony in Hawaii. He lives in Hawaii. His
Mhm.
name's Dante Tanner. Dante is trying to find money to make a movie. So he's watched all the videos already. He's totally on and he emails me all the time. Like you and Dante could totally connect and you guys could connect and go off and make a movie, possibly. Like I want to be a community of filmmakers that kind of understand my style of how to make movies and get them done. This is the thing. My style of making movies is just getting it done. I'm
Yeah.
sick of people talking about making movies. I make movies.
Yeah. Since I've taken your intensive, I'm on to my second film, and it's just made it so much simpler to explain to people that who wanted to invest in the film and who wanted to work on the film, to be able to explain to them the production process and assure them that you knew what you were doing, or know that I know what I'm doing and what's doable, what's not. It also gave me the ability to help weed out the things that weren't going to be very useful. And that leads me to the next thing. I wanted to ask you a question about when you're picking projects, what's the first non-negotiable thing that you look at? Like, do you go in for tone, character, hook? What ideas resonate with you, and how do you choose which projects to pursue other than someone showing up with, "Hey, I have this money and I would like to make this thing or be
Well,
ready."
listen, Thomas, I'm brutally honest, right? And that's
Yeah.
how I make a living. And it's called show business. It's not like I can just be picky as to what I'm gonna make. If someone shows up and they have money to make a movie, I'm gonna either figure out what genre they want to do and write them a script accordingly, or if they have a script, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna rewrite it and make what they want. The objective is to be on set making movies. That's the life force, is to
That's
actually
it.
be on set, not talking about making movies, but actually making movies.
And that's what
So
I love most about your class. You encouraged that, and that immediately made me want to jump into it. Not to cut you off
yeah,
on that.
I mean, really, like, do you remember what you did? There's two things in life, at least for me,
Mm,
that make living life valuable. Like,
yeah.
do you remember what you did 3 Tuesdays ago?
No.
No. But when you're on
I,
vacation, last vacation you took, did you remember every single day? You remember every smell. You
I
remember
do.
what you ate, right?
I
Now, the
do.
same thing from when we make movies. Like, you remember when you were in 12 Pups of Christmas and you ran out of my house. I mean, I remember the scene exactly. Now, I've watched it a million times because I also, oversee the whole thing, produce it. But I know you remember every moment of being on that set or when we did The Last Appeal. I know you remember so to me, that's what life is about. So what making movies is not just it's wonderful telling stories. It's wonderful making money. But at the end of the day, it's like, how are you biding your time on this planet? And I mean, without a doubt, I try to make good films and moral films. I mean, I just made a faith-based movie called Man of the Valley in last April that we're just getting done now. And it's fantastic and it's going to change people's lives. And we made The Last Appeal, which is a really
Yeah.
powerful film.
That has been seen by more people across the world than most of the films that you've made. I heard that
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 movie's been seen by more people than any movie I've made. Yeah.
wow.
And it was $40,000. We shot in 2 days. We shot 50 pages a day.
I happened to have been in that movie. I was amazed. I was on set the whole time, and it was incredible how much you got done in that amount of time.
Yeah.
It was a sound stage. It was all blacked out. Next thing you know, you had sets, you had people everywhere, and we went nonstop for days. And it
two
was
days.
one of the most fantastic 2 days.
2 days.
Most fantastic experiences I've ever had in my life. It was very exciting to see you at work and make so many things happen so fast. I couldn't make out how you were tracking all of it. I mean, everything. You had sound. You had your sound on right here. You had your direction there. You had set design. How many things that you had to put in order to make all that work shows that you have such a background and knowledge. And I think that comes from working with your father from early on. I think
Yeah, I mean, listen,
30.
I didn't start directing my first movie until I had produced 30, until I had AD'd like 15 movies. You need to put the time in, or taking my class as a way to advance that is to like hyper speed all that stuff up. But you need to really put the time in. And I have a class on my Pfeiffer Film Academy that's like 3 jobs to do to really help you be a director, which is
Mm,
editing, script supervising, and first ADing.
mm.
Get on set, start getting your feet wet, start doing these jobs. And then when it's time for you to direct, you'll really know what you're good at. You'll really learn multitasking. You'll really be able to do what I call hypervigilance, where you're just hyper
Mm.
vigilant about everything around you. And you know what the actors are up to. You know you're blocking. You know what the lighting situation. You know what camera you want to the camera move. You know what lens you want. Like for me, it's like instantaneous because I've been doing it.
Are you tracking all this in your head during this time?
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
way, yeah, because I've watched you work and you don't have notes or nothing. And I'm like, how do you? I mean, it's just the
So
years
I'm playing
of
chess while
practice.
everybody else is playing checkers.
Man, you're tracking all
But
this in your
it's
head.
experience. That's all it is just experience. It's just doing it over and over and over again. You know, it's a muscle. You know, making movies is like this muscle, and the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And I have a saying, which I'm sure you've heard me say, which is FCWTP. To make a Pfeiffer film good, fast, and cheap, you got to be flexible, compromising with the program, right?
Mhm.
So you can't be stuck in one way. You have to always be kind of improving and trying to figure things out. And then through that process, it's kind of like a scientist in the lab, you know, where they find some cure to something only because they were doing something else, you know? And if they weren't doing that other thing, they wouldn't have found the cure to something which saves the world, you know? It's like Louis Pasteur or something, you know? And so it's kind of like making movies. You want to leave yourself in this sort of amorphous, like improv style where you know what you're doing, you know what you want, but if something changes, like let's say you're shooting a kissing romantic scene outside and there's two characters kissing and suddenly starts pouring rain. Well, you know something, shoot the pouring rain. Then figure out in the storyline, somebody else later says, or earlier in the movie says, hey, I think a storm's whatever it might be, you know, figure it
Mhm.
out, come up with a solution. And then it makes everything just really much easier. But you've got, you know, you have to multitask, you have to learn, but you learn on the job. Nothing drives me more crazy than people who just go off and direct a movie without putting the time and effort in to learning how to direct or spending time. I'm not a fan of film schools where you pay $100,000 a year. You
Not at
know,
all.
you
Yeah.
want to learn from people who make movies.
So
And
what?
you know, I taught at a film school for a couple semesters, a year and a half, 2 years ago, and most of the teachers there haven't. They're teaching stuff they haven't done. You know, and drives me crazy.
Drives you nuts. Well, how do you think AI is affecting you? Well, first thing, before I move into that, I do want to just reflect back to you that just from all the time that you spent on sets and all the time that you spent making films, it sort of really resonates and comes second nature to you. Now, for people who don't aren't able to process all this in their head as quickly, do you have a place on your academy where they can sort of see the outline of structure, a flow chart of sort of how movies are made, what pieces go where, sort of like a work.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you could follow along in the videos. By the way, the very first video on the website is how to find the money, because that's the hardest part about making movies is finding the
Mhm.
money. After you find the money, it's actually quite easy. But I have the language of film, I have screen direction, I have what do you do once you get the directing job? What do you do first? You know, and
Mhm.
there's a whole video about that. So yeah, I'm doing lots of it. And I'm going to keep doing content and more and more. Right now, there's something like 21 videos up, and there'll be more coming. And just like you said, emails that come every day or every other day, and things like that.
What I love the
I sent out on an email. I saw Avatar, and then I saw Song Sung Blue, and I had to make a little email to everybody because Avatar is a feast for the eyes, but you just do not connect to these characters. $500 million, and you could care less.
I didn't
And
hear
then
much
Song
about it.
Sung Blue, Hugh Jackman, Kate Hudson is just emotion, it's just connection, and you can do that for no money.
Saw one battle after another. Have you seen that one, the new Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You didn't like it?
No, I did not like it at all.
Tell me why. I wanna
Well,
hear
first of all, I
it's
thought
like 3
Leo
different
was
it
listen.
was 3 separate films.
I'm a huge fan of Paul Thomas Anderson's. Paul
Okay.
Thomas Anderson is brilliant, and I think he has hits and he has misses. Magnolia was a hit, you know. There'll Be Blood is amazing, you know. Boogie Nights, amazing. And then the guy's
Mhm.
done other films that, you know. First of all, I think Leo was doing a Jeff Bridges, Big Lebowski, the dude impersonation. I was like, come on, Leo, come on. You're doing an
Really?
impersonation of Jeff Bridges from the Big Lebowski. So if you haven't seen that movie, if you go see that movie, then you and then I felt like Sean Penn was doing an impersonation of Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men.
Now that you say that, man, I totally can see you're not gonna be able to get it out of my head. I love the movie, the second portion. The first portion was tough for me. Like I said, it was like watching 2 films. The first portion, I was like, there's a lot of noise, action, but it didn't really resonate with me until we started getting to the real storyline of it. And I'm not gonna ruin it for anyone. But now that you've said that, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I
Don't
love Sean Penn in it though.
don't take your wife and your son's girlfriend to see it together because there's something that happens at the beginning of the film that's really embarrassing for a mother and her going to the movie with her son and his girlfriend.
Oh, so that is that how you saw it? Yeah, I can see. I can
That
see it.
scene with Sean Penn, yeah,
Yeah, that scene with Sean Penn in the beginning. I was first of all like, why? I'm like, what is this about? Why? It did set the stage for for things that come later. But other than that,
yeah. I
yeah,
love Donna Taylor in it. I want to see more of her. She was amazing.
you liked
Ama-
her. And see, that to me, and everybody here is going to shoot me because everybody loves Tiana Taylor on the production side. I didn't. I particularly thought she was the hardest part to watch.
Really?
I thought she was the hardest. It was just so much her, and then it was over the top a little bit for me. But she seemed more like a hip hop artist.
Watch other Paul Thomas Anderson movies. I mean,
Mm.
what do you do? Black Licorice, which is all about growing up in the San Fernando Valley, which is where I grew up. I hated that movie. But Boogie Nights, There Will
Uh-huh.
Be Blood,
I
and
love Boogie Nights.
Phantom Thread. I think Phantom Thread is a Paul Thomas Anderson fantastic movie.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm still a PTA fan, but not of that film.
So let me ask you, with AI coming onto the scene now, how has that changed the game for you? How has it made films how has it made films either more or less enjoyable for you as far as making them? And has it really proven to be as efficient and as effective as most people are making it out to be? I have my own qualms with AI and what's being made and the difficulty of such. It's sort of like yeah, it's intoxicating to get into, but it can be very misleading and distracting. Now,
Well,
give me some feedback on that.
I am a huge fan of AI. I think it's
Okay.
freaking amazing. I think it's changing the world. I think
Mhm.
that it's not the problem with all these, just like before we got on, we were talking about, I'd love to go back to the day before the internet, before cell phones, and just live like
Mhm.
that again,
Yeah.
but we can't. Everything's moving forward. We can't get rid of the internet. It's not going to go away. We can't get rid of cars. You don't want to be the guy who's sitting on a horse and a car drives by and be like, I'm never going to do that. It's happening. I'm sorry, and people might be mad at me about this, and and actors might be. In fact, if you remember SAG, they had this whole thing about scanning faces of actors, and they can't scan. They don't need to do that. I don't know if you've done Sora 2 yet, which is an app that came out
I have.
where all you do is go like this, and it's got your entire face. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to scan. It's just like this picture. But
It's in me.
AI is amazing. So you have to use it to your advantage, and you have to learn how to use it. And there's a lot. There's a lot there. First of all, what's that?
No, finish that thought first.
So
When
first of all, uh, um, if someone wants if I write a script and someone wants a one-page treatment of it, okay, I'm not
Mhm.
going to write it anymore. I'm dropping that in Chat GPT and tell it to write a one-page treatment. I'm not going to sit and write another one-page treatment ever again in my entire life. Okay, it's not going
Yeah.
to happen. I'm a screenwriter. I'm not a one paragraph or one-page treatment writer.
Okay.
If I need a paragraph, I'm going to tell it to write it. Now you have to read these things. I mean, I've had to do it before where I said write a one-page treatment or synopsis of my movie. I attached the script and it wrote a synopsis to a completely different film.
And that's happened to me as well.
And then I
Happened
write back and say, "You're hallucinating, you moron," and then the Chat GPT or the AI. Sometimes I use Claude, be like, "I'm sorry, you were correct. I'm hallucinating. Let me do this again." Like, so you can't trust that the information is always correct, but it's so. Let's just start simply. Synopses. If I need a one-liner, if I'm doing a poster, I need a poster one-liner for a movie. If I need titles of the movie, I'm going to run it through my AI assistant.
Mhm.
I could hire an assistant all day long. That person's not going to be nearly as smart as the AI. All right. A lot of times I'll write, I do not use AI to write dialogue. Do not, do not, do not. You really should not,
Yeah.
unless you're doing something. But if you're writing something like a song sung blue, which is a personable movie, and don't. But description. Let's say sometimes I'll write a description like now I'll write it even faster. I'll be like let's say it's an establishing a shot of a mansion with a portion of Rolls Royce parked outside, and we crane down and find the house. And then I'll take that and I'll drop in AI and I'll say, enhance this description. And
Wow. Okay.
boom, it enhances it. Sometimes I'll say, enhance this as if it's a John Grisham novel and a Tom Clancy movie, you know, and then it'll enhance it with just that little extra edge, Or sometimes I'll say, write this description as if you're Quentin Tarantino, and it'll
Mhm.
it'll do that, So sometimes I'll write an entire script and I'll take the descriptions and I'll drop it in, copy paste, drop it in, change it, copy and paste. And so now my script is like more robust and it just reads better. The description is not part of the literature. A movie script isn't literature, anyways. It's
Mhm.
just conveying information. And I want that script to read really well. So if somebody's thinking about financing the movie, it reads really well. And I'll be the first to admit AI can write better than me. I still have to baby it and monitor it and prompt it over and over again and hold its hand, but it writes better than me. And I'm the first. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to write better dialogue, because dialogue should be kind of a stream of consciousness that comes out of your head and from
Mhm.
your your experiences. And AI is not going to particularly do that. But
Yeah.
I'll use it for, let's say I'm doing a schedule and I need one-liners of every scene. I'll
Mhm.
just put that in AI. I'll give me one-liners of every scene. I don't have to do that anymore. That used to take me 3, 4, 5 hours to do.
Yeah, I've used it
Uh,
for that. I use it also to get a skeleton of a story. So you say I have a quick idea. Boom.
yep.
You know what? I remember when I was a kid, this happened. I'll speak right. I'll tell it the story. Say I need a treatment that where I need a idea storyline that speaks to these elements. This happened, that happened, that happened. It's going to be based on Beverly Hillbilly, Beverly Hillbillies meets Landman, and that kind of feel to it. And then
Steal that one from you.
developing a spine of a story and give you a nice little outline. And
Yep.
then I start filling in the stuff. As long as I capture the idea and don't lose the important elements that I loved about the story,
I
it
do.
was great.
Everybody's doing it. And sometimes I'll say hero's journey. You know,
Yes.
the
That
hero's
was
journey.
such a
We
hit.
talked about that in class. Christopher Vogler has a book called The Writer's Journey.
Yeah.
Every story should follow the hero's journey, and
Yeah.
and so I'll tell the AI to do that too, and it'll just be a much more well fabricated outline, and then from
That
there
was,
I might.
that was one of the most
Then,
effective things you
and
had
then
told
and
me.
then and then Thomas, I'm using it for visuals. I mean, Thomas was in a movie I did called American Valor. It's all done. My executive producer is, what's delaying it actually is my executive producer John is applying as much AI visual effects as he can to it. So
That's
he's
the
just having a
point.
good time adding missiles and explosions and more. I mean, we've
That
got
was an
aircraft
exciting thing.
carriers and fighter jets. It's all AI. It's all AI. In fact, I buy a lot of footage from a stock photo company called Pond 5. They better watch out because now when I have a list of Pond 5 shots, I'll first go to Google VO3 or Nano Banana or Gemini or one of these things and have it do a stock shot and see if I like the AI stock shot better. And then I'm not stuck buying the stock shot for anywhere from $40 to $150.
And do you have are you concerned about there going in the future any unions that are going to make you disclaim where the AI is in your projects or going to hold you up in any way in the future? Do you have any concerns about what can possibly happen with AI generated material or scripting?
No, no.
That simple.
It-
Yeah.
did you see Disney is supplying, who was it? Some AI company, like for some $1 billion price or something, basically just all of their IP. Like, here, just
Wow.
feed our IP into your machine. And if
And you
people
have
want to
everything.
do AI Mickey Mouses, they can, you know?
Yeah. So don't, there's no reason to be scared of it. We're stepping full into it.
It's going to be really hard to litigate that stuff. The thing is, and I hate to say it, and like, I don't know if you're familiar, Jason Bateman's sister, Justine, who was on Family Ties, she talks a lot about this stuff. And I love that girl. It's like, she's great. And everything she says she's really, really smart, but she's very anti AI. And I just feel like she's fighting against the car. She's sitting on a horse and
Yeah.
she's fighting against the car, and you just can't fight it. You have to embrace it. You know?
Get on it.
My son is doing these archaeological AI things where like he just showed me something last night where he had 3 pictures of like a Nordic warrior, just pictures. And then he keyframed them and then told the AI to make him walk through the bog that he was walking, like the marsh or something. And it was like a combination of Kling and Nano Banana and all these, and he made this character start walking and moving just based off of 3 still
How
frames,
how consistent can you keep your characters and over how long? That's been a issue.
Well, that's getting better and better. By the way, on American Valor, if you remember, you were there that day. My friend Sean played a news reporter.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
And
wrote.
Sean couldn't remember his dialogue, and Sean was having a hard time, and Sean will admit it too. And we
Uh,
love Sean. But so I'm cutting the movie together, and I'm like, this is not going great. So I go on Google VO3 and I
Man, new
do a
show.
news reporter in front of a Washington D.C. background with a logo, whatever at the bottom, and then I gave it the dialogue to say. And the news reporter that Google VO3 created was amazing. His performance was perfect.
Wait a
Perfect news
minute.
reporter.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Michael, I'm gonna nail you here. So Sean got fired. Sean got cut out the film.
Sean got cut out and he got replaced.
Oh, AI done took his job. AI done told.
Well,
I
remember,
told
Sean was line producing, so he didn't have
Right,
an.
so he had more than one job on the thing, but look at us actors out there. I'm as well as being a producer and writer. I primarily I was a born actor, and I knew this was coming, so I thought I'd hone my skills in filmmaking. That's the reason why me and Michael got together. I was like, I
Well,
need.
it's coming. But did you see Avatar yet, Thomas?
I didn't see it. It wasn't exciting. The whole even when I saw the reviews, to me, it didn't. I didn't really.
Listen, it's a feast for the eyes. It's
I love
amazing.
the first one.
See, listen, see Avatar in IMAX 3D. It's like going on a roller coaster. Like, what does it really do for you? You have that brief excitement, but it doesn't stay with you, right? It's like, for instance, nobody can tell us all the character names from Avatar, but we can tell everybody Star Wars character names, right?
Right.
Because
Yes.
Avatar doesn't really live in the zeitgeist. It doesn't
Mhm.
live in the culture. But
Mhm.
so same with a roller coaster. You go to Disneyland, you ride on a roller coaster. So that's what Avatar is. You go for the roller coaster ride, and it's amazing. But what James Cameron's been doing is that the actors are still acting and they're still performing. They're just being replaced by visual effects.
Visual
But
effects.
but he still feels like I can't get those performances out of a computer. I still have to get them out of an actor. There will be a point where you'll be able to get them out of the computer. I don't think that's there yet, but there will. And then, there might just be like, I mean, I was at a friend's house the other day and the Polar Express was playing. Polar Express was a huge movie and it was all digital characters, although again, it was actors performing and then applying that. But it didn't look good. If you look at Polar Express now, it looks really weird. But the point is that, there's still movies with human beings. And at the end of the day, what I'm teaching, what I like to talk about and the kind of movies I like to make super low budget movies where you don't need to spend all this money on computers and you're out in the open and you're in Hawaii shooting, you're on a mountain in Wyoming shooting. I mean, like,
What amazes me is how well they look. I mean, and you say low budget, they're moderately budgeted to me. I'm sure it's low compared to the industry. But the budgets that you use, I am so surprised at how well they look. You could turn on anything that you make on, say, a Lifetime, Hallmark, Netflix, Prime. You're everywhere. When people ask me, I've done multiple films for you, and they ask me what have you been on, I'm like, I'm on everything. Thanks to Michael Feifer, I'm everywhere. You've gotten them placed all over and distributed by many different companies, and they all look very quality. And I think a lot of that has to do with your background and understanding the lenses, understanding. I know you have a trick for sound that you say that some of the sound you do in post, and that you don't over focus on that during the making. Have you found that still to pan out as well as you liked? How did it go in your last couple films?
at the end of the day, all that matters is what's in that rectangle, or let's say the rectangle. Okay. I'm not going to say verticals because I'm not a big fan of verticals, but the rectangle. That's all that matters. So
Mm.
if you're on set and you're shooting and it doesn't look good, it doesn't look like a big movie, it's not well lit, you better know why it doesn't look that way, what to tell your cinematographer, how to talk to your actors. You have to know your shots, have to know your lenses. So there's a collection of
You
things.
say like it's kind of easy. You gotta hang around you a little bit to know that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I've listened to you.
we talked about in my class like the difference between cinema and soap opera, right?
Mhm,
Why do soap operas look different than cinema? Well, the reason generally is shallow depth of field. Soap
mhm.
operas, everything's in focus, and you have very static cameras. The cameras don't really move much, and the actors are very stale. Whereas cinema, you're throwing the background out of focus. You got to know what lenses to use. You got to know what f-stops to use. You have to understand your lighting to start making cinema.
The Academy. I want to make sure that
Oh,
everyone
oh,
knows that you can find this information
yeah, yeah,
online now. I had to go to a 5-day intensive. I still suggest you go to it. But
yeah,
other than that, you go to
yeah.
the Academy. He's building a studio, right? Is that a studio you're building right behind you? You're
No,
building?
no, 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 no.
Okay, okay.
It's just where I keep my stuff. E for Christmas and Cupid Dog and Soldier's Revenge, Val Kilmer.
Oh, turn that one over. Soldier's Revenge. Yeah, that's with Val Kilmer. And is it and Al Pacino in that one too? Or is that
No, no, Al Pacino. I line produced an AD to movie for Al Pacino.
got you.
So
Okay.
that's called Wild Salame or Salamaybe. That was
Mhm.
actually Jessica Chastain's first movie.
Wow.
I directed Brittany Murphy's last movie. It's called Abandon.
Man, I
So
love that. I love that.
look
So
at it. Look at this cast: Brittany Murphy, Dean Cain, Mimi Rogers. That's Tom Cruise's first wife, Mimi Rogers. Peter Bogdanovich.
mhm.
Shot this in 11 days for a very low budget, and you could still find this movie playing. You'll find it playing forever.
So the thing you can do it. I wanna let my audience know that this is something that's doable. Michael's got me well on the way as among others, and I have to say that is I found it to be very effective, and you can find all the information you need to find online at tell them the name of the academy again, Mike?
Just go to PfeifferFilmAcademy.com, but make sure you spell Pfeiffer correctly.
Spell
F
it.
is in Frank, EI, F is in Frank, ER for Film Academy. You can
F-E-I.
also go to Google, SKOLOOL, and type in Pfeiffer Film Academy. But if you just go to the
Let me
Pfeiffer,
make sure that we also have it across the screen here. So you can look on the screen here in the comments below, and you're gonna know and understand exactly where to find this school. It's important that you take a look at it. It definitely brings everything to you. And people talk about networking, connections, and understanding people. Michael is directly directly connected. I mean, it's like a punch right to the vein with Michael. He's been doing this for many, many years, as you can see from the background.
My
Yeah.
great.
All your history from your grade. No, no. As you can see from the resume, that he's connected to everyone in the industry. And if you ever want to mainline and know how to jump right in without being on the outskirts, I spent 20 years on the outskirts of it, trying to figure it out, getting right to it. Michael's a direct connect, and he really did help me get my TV career on the road. Prior to that, a lot of just short films and things like that. But as far as being on primetime television, it was Michael that made that move, that helped me make that move. He even, I remember him meeting you. I think we met at a church somewhere, but I remember you say, "Hey man, we need to get you on prime time."
Right.
And he saw the talent, and thank God, here we are
But
today.
remember, you can't wait to be hired, mostly if you're an actor. You know, Man in the Valley, the movie I did in April, you know how many submissions we had for the lead female role through Breakdown Services? If your viewers are aware of Breakdown Services, which is kind of
That's where we the roles as actors. We go to breakdown services, the agents, the managers, they send everything out to us, and then they
how many
submit.
submissions do you think for the lead female role?
I know there's a lot. I would think maybe at least 1,000.
5,000. 5,000 submissions for the lead female role.
One role,
Every
5,000.
every lead role was 3 to 5,000 submissions.
Wow.
Yeah. So the point is that
Make your own stuff.
you might be the greatest actor in the world,
Mhm.
but you might not be found. Make your own stuff. That's how I met Kea, my wife. My wife
Mhm.
actually moved from Atlanta, Georgia to Los Angeles to be an actress. And she acted for years, but she never got that leading role that really wanted that made her feel like she was doing her craft, that made her feel wanted and special and important, and a movie that she felt proud of. So actually what happened was uh, um, our pastor of the at the time, a pastor named Mel Ayers, said to Kea, you know, you need to go behind the camera, not in front of the camera. She's like,
Mhm.
"You're kidding me. I'm an actress. I'm in front of the camera. I don't go behind. I don't know anything about going behind the camera." He says, "You need to go behind the camera and make a movie." So she decided, based off of his blessing, to make a movie. She had somebody write a script, and then she was doing a short film with a friend of mine, Corbin Timbrook, and the actor Bo Hopkins, and I had just finished making a movie with them. And she said she was looking for a line producer. For the audience who doesn't know, a line producer is the nuts and bolts person who puts together the movie. Just like when you build a house, you hire a contractor. So they said, "Well, why don't you call Mike Pfeiffer?" She calls me up, and
Now you're married.
make the movie. We fell in love location scouting. We make the movie, and we're going to celebrate 25 years in April. And
Congratulations on that. I met Kaya. She's fantastic, a fantastic actress, and one hell of a producer as well.
yeah, and you can watch that movie. It's called Choosing Matthias. You can watch it on Tubi TV for free.
Wow.
And see, we can see this movie that we made together that she stars in and she directed. So she took her career into her own hands. Of course, she never directed a movie again. I'm the one who ended up directing 3 years later, but she got a husband out of it and a kid out of it and a family out of it. And
And yeah, when I express that to people, and I'm talking to investors, and I'm also talking to other people interested in the industry, that's one of the questions I ask: Are you here to get famous, or are you here for the experience, or are you here for the creation? And because there's a big divide between that. And what I do notice, to get back to your other point about, um, um, a lot of the actors today, they're making their own things. A lot of the actors that you see, you think that, oh man, I wonder how they got it. Got discovered, how lucky they are. It's not that at all. They spend a lot of time making their own
well,
product. Yeah.
Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, Reese
Oh,
Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston, they all have their own production companies. They all make their own projects. Nicole Kidman. If they're doing it, why aren't you doing it?
because
By the way,
something happens as an actor. I want to talk to the actors for a minute. When you
yeah,
get on the other side of that camera and on this production, then you really can understand as an actor what it is you're working against and what you're working with, and it helps you do your job so much better. Hey, making your own things puts you in charge. As an actor, it helps you see things very differently. It helps you understand your craft much better and understanding how well things have to fit together, and how seriously you must take your job when you're working on a team. And I want to let Michael take us out here with telling us a little bit, finishing up your statement about, you know, that as a producer and
well,
making.
I wanted to say one thing you touched on, which we talked about in my class too, and I talk about it on my videos, my academy. If you want to make a movie, don't look for investors, okay? Because unfortunately, you can't promise people return on investment. This is the most speculative, dangerous business when it comes to making money. It really, truly is. So what you want to look for is financiers who have ulterior motives to make a movie.
There
Somebody
you
who's wife is an actress and wants to star in a movie, somebody who wants their name in lights, somebody who just wants to do something different with their life, somebody who wants to. I have a whole video on this too. Like someone's a really strong Christian, they want to make a Christian film. Someone is a strong, I don't know, they might be a communist and they want to make a movie about communism. It's like
And that had to
want to
be the
find somebody
biggest
with an ulterior motive.
during your intensive, that had to be the biggest hint that you gave me, because now when I discuss these things with people, I'm discussing it from that aspect. And the experience, the creation, the alt,
Right.
placement, commercial reasons, things like that. There's so many other portions to this other than, hey, I want to be famous or I want to get rich. I wouldn't advise making movies if you're thinking that you're just going to get in there and get rich. But I think that I do advise making movies. You have a very rich experience, something that you could talk about with and to your kids and to your family.
Right.
Reflect on for the next 100 years. They'll be able to pull it up and look at what you created, the story that you told. And Michael's really going to be the one to help you down that road. He really made a difference for me, and I just wanted to thank him so much and
Thanks.
take this moment to say I really appreciate you. You made the difference in my life.
Thanks. Well, I hope that the Film Academy keeps that going too.
It is. It is. Like I said, I'm using it to this day. We're making 2 more films this spring. There's one I'm bringing to you. It's almost ready. I'm bringing it to you. And
Bring it
last,
on.
I do want to tell everybody here, the Academy and the Intensive taught me something very important: how to speak to people about what you're trying to do, how to explain to them how you're going to do it, and why it may be worthwhile to them. He gives you a full class on raising the money, and that is explaining the vision, explaining how it works, explaining the story, and finding people that are interested in telling these stories. And I wanted to appreciate and thank you for that as well.
And there's a lot of directing in there too. The blocking exercises are my favorite thing to do.
It was
I'm
different.
teaching directing and producing. You know,
Yeah, that's a very, very good portion as well. If you want to understand camera angles, cameras, if you understand equipment and crews, if you understand who's necessary on set and who's not necessary on set, and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's just a plethora of knowledge and a very big chest, a tool chest. So thank you again, Michael. I'm going to give you the
um,
rest of the day back. I appreciate, I really appreciate you.
I'm actually I have an ADR session in an hour for
What ADR is for people that don't understand.
automated dialogue replacements, looping. So, if you
Mhm.
shoot a scene on the streets of New York City, you got buses and cars and sounds, trains. We clean it up by we replace all the audio.
That's the
Then
secret.
we add the cars and trains and buses.
That's some of the secret sauce for sound that he taught in his intensive and that you'll learn online. Hey, I'd advise it once again. Thank you. And we'll do a follow up, hopefully in the next six
Do it.
months, to hear about what we're doing next. All right.
All
Thanks
right.
again. Appreciate you, Michael.
All
Thank you
right. Thanks,
so much.
everybody. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, you guys.